On the night of June 12, 2013, 25-year-old Julia Majette was at her home on the east side of Madison, Wisconsin. The day had been rainy, and inside the residence, Julia's family settled into their evening routine. Her husband, their 3 young children, and visiting relatives Mark and Patricia Cherry were present. Mark and Patricia were staying in the basement of the duplex at some point during the night. The couple in the basement heard the front door open. The sound was unexpected and unsettling. Within moments, sharp, rapid gunshots echoed through the home. Almost instantly, they heard the frightened screams of children piercing the air. The scene was unfolding above them, chaotic, violent, and irreversible. Investigators later determined that 2 men had entered the home. At least one was. Armed with a handgun, the confrontation was brief and deadly. Julia was struck by gunfire in the presence of her children. Despite the immediate cries for help, there was nothing that could be done to save her life. She succumbed to her injuries before emergency responders could intervene. The men fled the residence, disappearing into the night. No arrests were made. That evening, in the days and months that followed, law enforcement conducted interviews, processed evidence, and sought leads. Despite these efforts, no suspects were charged. Julia's death left a void that extended far beyond her home. Family, friends, and the community were left grappling with grief and unanswered questions. Years have passed, yet the case remains unsolved. For those closest to her, the absence of justice is a constant reminder of the violent night that took her life and the hope that one day the truth will finally be uncovered. Julia Majette was born on March 15, 1988, in Camden, New Jersey. She was named after her great-grandmother, a name passed down for 4 generations, carrying a deep family legacy. As a young child, Julia moved with her family to Madison, Wisconsin's east side, where she would spend most of her life. She grew up alongside 3 siblings, Tyree, Shanta, and Rufus, forming close bonds that would shape her sense of loyalty and connection. From her earliest years, Julia's personality stood out. Family members recall her as wise beyond her age, able to understand what truly mattered in life. Her father, Rufus Hackett, remembers bringing her a large bag of toys when she was little. She thanked him but asked, "When are you going to spend time with me?" For Julia, moments with loved ones held more value than possessions. At the age of 3, she was affectionately nicknamed Sweet Pea, a name that reflected her gentle and forgiving nature. Her younger sister Tyree recalls how Julia would give without hesitation, even offering the shirt off her back if someone needed it. Her mother, Tracy Cherry, describes her as ambitious and determined. Julia completed her education at East High School, where supportive teachers recognized her persistence. While she didn't participate much in extracurricular activities, she always finished her work and never gave up. By age 14, Julia was ready to work, eager to contribute and gain independence. She took jobs at Woodman's grocery store and Clink Cleaners, showing a strong work ethic from an early stage. These formative experiences rooted in family, perseverance, and generosity laid the foundation for the driven, compassionate woman she would become, and for the deep impact she would have on everyone around her. From the age of 14, Julia Majette demonstrated a determination to work and make her own way in the world. She began with jobs at Woodman's grocery store and Clink Cleaners, balancing her responsibilities while gaining early experience in customer service and hard work. Her ambition was not limited to earning an income. She sought out opportunities to explore her passions and build a better future. Music was one of her greatest loves. Julia enjoyed R&B and hip-hop, with My Girl by The Temptations holding a special place in her heart. Influenced by an aunt who worked as a DJ in Camden, Julia pursued DJing herself under the name DJ Chief. She invested in a record player and turntable set gifted by her father, using them to perform at parties she organized with her sister, Tyree. Charging admission at the door, Julia turned her passion into a small business, showcasing her entrepreneurial instincts. Her drive extended beyond music. Julia earned a license to sell life insurance, proving her willingness to diversify her skills. She worked alongside her mother at Pine View Living and also served as a caregiver with Visiting Angels, roles that reflected her compassion and commitment to helping others. Education was another priority. Julia joined the University of Wisconsin-Madison Odyssey project to further her studies. She had also been accepted into the nursing program at Edgewood College, with plans to begin classes the semester after her death. This step represented her long-term goal of entering the healthcare field, where she could combine her nurturing nature with professional expertise. Julia's work ethic, creativity, and ambition painted the portrait of a young woman determined to achieve more, not just for herself, but for her family's future. Julia Majette's greatest joy was her role as a mother. She had 2 daughters and a son with her husband, down to Vance, and no matter how busy her schedule became, she made time to create meaningful moments for her children. Birthdays, parties, and small family celebrations were opportunities for her to make them feel special. She balanced multiple jobs, educational commitments, and household responsibilities. Yet her children always came first. To her younger sister, Tyree, Julia was more than family. She was a protector, guide, and role model. Just 3 years older, Julia naturally took on a leadership role, looking out for Tyree and providing a sense of safety. "Nothing could happen to me when I was with her," Tyree once said, reflecting on her sister's unwavering presence. Sisters shared cherished summer trips to New Jersey, traveling by Greyhound to visit family. One memorable outing was to Clementon Water Park, where instead of swimming, they competed at carnival games, winning 8 to 10 stuffed bears to bring home. These moments, filled with laughter and playful rivalry, became part of the family's treasured memories. Julia's presence was warm and inviting. Her radiant smile and almond-shaped eyes stood out, along with her unique style feathered high ponytails, crimped hair, and self-styled nails. She took pride in her appearance and enjoyed helping her sister do the same. Her home was always beautifully decorated and spotless, a welcoming space for friends and relatives. Cooking was another way she expressed love, with her barbecue becoming a family favorite. For Julia, food, family, and home were all tied together, symbols of the care and dedication she poured into the people she loved most. In addition to her close-knit family ties, Julia Majette valued her friendships deeply. One of her closest friends was Candace Woods, a hairdresser who would later relocate to Georgia. Their personalities were different. Candace was outgoing and social, while Julia preferred a quieter routine, focused on her children and work, but the contrast strengthened their bond. Candace often encouraged Julia to take a break from her busy schedule and join her for an evening out, offering moments of relaxation and connection away from daily responsibilities. Julia's home life was a blend of dedication to her children, steady work, and small escapes into the things she enjoyed. Music was ever present, providing both comfort and energy. She loved listening to her favorite R&B and hip-hop tracks, often filling the house with familiar melodies. Movies and television also played a role in her downtime. She enjoyed classics like The Five Heartbeats and Friday, and she found humor in The Chappelle Show, sometimes reenacting skits to entertain family and friends. These lighter moments reflected Julia's ability to find joy even in a demanding life, while she carried the responsibilities of a mother, student, and worker. She still carved out time to laugh, share music, and enjoy the company of those close to her. In these friendships and everyday routines, Julia nurtured connections that brought balance and warmth to her world. On the rainy night of June 12, 2013, Julia Majette was at home on Madison, Wisconsin's east side. Inside the duplex, she was with her husband, their 3 children, and visiting relatives, Mark and Patricia Cherry. The Cherries were staying in the basement, settling in for the evening as the household prepared for the night. Sometime later, the couple in the basement heard the front door open. The sound was unusual and immediately drew their attention. Within seconds, the sharp report of gunshots cut through the quiet. Panic followed as the voices of frightened children screamed from upstairs. The Cherries could only listen as events unfolded above them. Police later confirmed that at least 2 men had entered the residence. One was armed with a handgun. The encounter inside the home was brief but violent. Julia was shot multiple times while her children were nearby, witnessing the chaos. The attackers fled quickly, disappearing into the night before anyone could stop them. Emergency responders arrived, but their efforts came too late. Julia died from her injuries at the scene. Detectives began their investigation immediately, interviewing witnesses, collecting physical evidence, and appealing to the public for leads. Despite these efforts, no arrests were made. The investigation produced no publicly announced suspects, and as the days turned into months, the case remained open. For Julia's family, the shock of that night has never faded. The sudden violence disrupted the safety of a home filled with children, leaving lasting trauma. More than a decade later, the unanswered questions still weigh heavily. The events of June 12th stand as both a turning point and a wound marking, the night when a young mother's life was taken and an enduring search for justice began. The loss of Julia Majette left her family shattered. Her younger sister, Tyree, described how the tragedy tore our family apart, but also brought us back together stronger. The murder forced them to confront not only their grief, but also the painful reality of how the system can fail to protect families in such situations. Julia's father, Rufus Hackett, one memory lingers with deep regret. At a party, just a month before her death, he felt a strong urge to take his daughter in his arms and dance with her. He didn't act on it, and that hesitation became a lasting source of sorrow. "I don't have a lot of regrets in life," he said, "but that is one of them." For Tyree, reminders of Julia appear constantly in movies they once enjoyed, in shared jokes, and in photographs. Grief surfaces in unexpected moments, but so do memories that keep Julia's presence alive. The weeks after her death, those close to her sought ways to honor her memory. On July 19, 2013, colleagues and friends at Pine View Living planted a tree in her honor. It became a living tribute to the woman they had worked alongside and cared about. Each year, Tyree continues to celebrate Julia's birthday. She buys a cake, sings "Happy Birthday," and treats the day as a time to remember rather than solely to mourn. These rituals help keep Julia's spirit alive, offering moments of connection amid the loss. While the years have passed, the absence remains profound. The family continues to live with unanswered questions, holding on to the hope that justice will one day be served and that Julia's story will not end with silence. More than a decade has passed since the night Julia Majette was killed, yet her homicide remains unsolved. For her family, the absence of answers is an enduring weight, a constant reminder of the violence that took her life and the uncertainty that followed. The Madison Police Department continues to urge anyone with information to come forward. Investigators stress that even small details, something seen, heard, or remembered, could help identify those responsible. The public is reminded that time does not erase the possibility of justice. A single tip could break the silence that has surrounded this case for so long. Those who wish to share information can contact the Madison Police Department at 608-266-4275. For those who prefer to remain anonymous, Madison Area Crime Stoppers offers a confidential line at 608-2666-014. Tips provided through crime. Stoppers may also make the caller eligible for a reward. Julia's family believes that somewhere, someone knows the truth. They hold on to the hope that renewed attention to her case will encourage those individuals to speak up. Justice delayed is still justice possible. The answers they seek will not bring Julia back, but they could bring closure, accountability, and a measure of peace after years of waiting. See you in the next video.